What's popping in the streets, everybody? I believe, therefore I am King Siler. Hope you guys are doing all right today. Hope you had a great week. I know I had a rough one at work. It rained very hard. If you guys know, Texas weather is extremely unpredictable. And I walked out of there with wet drawers, wet socks, and musty and smelling like rainwater. Even my locks right now still smell like rain, but that's not important. That's not why we're here. Few announcements really quick. First and foremost, shouts out to Kill Bill and the entire Wasteland crew in DC for a wonderful event. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it, but I was able to catch the live stream and it was absolutely amazing. The quality footage was great. Again, shouts out to all the competitors. Shouts out to Bullet for winning the tournament. And again, all the supporters that came out to support that event. So shouts out to you guys. Keep it going, Kill Bill. Hold your head, bro. You're doing an amazing job. Also, shouts out to the little bro, Rift, an official member of Playboys Inc. Congrats to him. I know that brother's been working hard for quite some time, and it is always nice to see the next generation get their shine and their recognition. Of course, naturally, once they work for it and they truly earn it. So shouts out to him for doing that. And again, shouts out to Playboys. You've definitely recruited an amazing young man, and I look forward to the growth that he displays in the coming years. So let's get right into it. As you guys can see, the difference between a leader and an elite. Now, obviously, leader, whatever the case may be, whether that be in city, community, state, nation, whatever, and a top tier, or an elite, obviously, we know what we're talking about. Now, this particular conversation was inspired by a young dancer who simply, and they're not that young, and obviously I know I don't drop people's names and stuff like that because I don't want people going at them or attacking them. You can attack me because I don't really care, but this particular dancer kind of had the mentality of, as far as that, usually a leader and an elite are the same person, and in my personal experience, I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not going to say that it's not possible, because it is very possible, and I've seen a few and stuff like that, but rarely ever do we see a leader and elite as the same person. Now, when I say leader, I don't mean popularity, because people get that confused all the time. Usually it's on the grounds of respect, hard work, commitment, and integrity. Those are how and knowledge. Those are how I look at leaders in the community. Usually the elites or top tiers are just simply, if we're just being real about it, usually the most popular people, and they're the people that are always battling, who are most famous, etc., so on and so on and so forth. So I definitely think those are two different people when we look at it in the long run. And let me break that down why. So, and actually, let me just give you a world example. Michael Jordan. Now, when we talk about Michael Jordan is obviously the greatest of all time, but in no way, shape, or fashion, we've seen how, honestly, how he conducts himself, on the team. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. Like, he's the elite. He's the pinnacle as far as like when we talk about basketball. Now, whether that comes down to like, people start having conversations about Dr. J or whatever the case may be, or LeBron, and, stats and stuff like that. When we talk about basketball, it is known and acknowledged that MJ is the pinnacle, is the greatest of all time. It's who we talk about. So before everybody gets in their opinions and stuff like that, no matter what you say, Michael Jordan is the guy. So, but when we look at Michael Jordan and stuff like that, we saw how ruthless he was on the basketball court. Like how ball hungry he was, like, how much, how frustrated he was, like how dedicated he was to being the absolute best, even though, like, was it game 6? I think, like, that he was sick or stuff like that. He was out there, shooting and stuff like that, playing like, like his life was on the line. Obviously his health was in jeopardy, but it was still a situation where we saw like how hungry he was. And we've even seen him in numerous interviews, how he talks about, he's kind of a little self-centered, if we want to be honest about it, and when you talk to him about the game of basketball, you don't really get a lot of straight answers from him and stuff like that. You get about, he kind of talks about my experience, or, my story, so to speak. You know, it's less about other people's experience. And obviously, I mean, you don't want to talk about other people's experience, but it's just when you look at Michael Jordan is the pinnacle of what an elite looks like because he was hungry for it. He was hungry for it. Another example, Conor McGregor. Like he says, I'm not here to take part, I'm here to take over. And we see how crazy Conor McGregor is. And he's one of the best that MMA has ever seen because he wasn't trying to be the best teammate or whatever the case may be. He was trying to beat everybody. He said, I don't care who you line me up with, bring them to me, I'm going to fight them. Entirely different people, okay? But then when you get on the other side of the spectrum and kind of bringing it back around to dance and stuff like that, usually, like they say, you don't ever want to meet your heroes is because their motivation is different. What drives them is different. You have to be, in my personal opinion, you have to be extremely selfish to be the best because that's what you're focused on. You're focused on yourself. There's a huge difference. When we talk about leaders, it's just simple. We put it like this. Leaders sacrifice for others. Elites sacrifice others. Let me say that again, just in case you didn't catch it. Leaders sacrifice for others. The elite sacrifice others. Because when we get in this dance, to be the best, you have to, one, constantly be improving your craft. Constantly. You have to be battling at some capacity, you know, and I'm obviously talking about the freestyle culture. And you have to be constantly out there competing. Your focus and your mind and all the constructive criticism and stuff like that, your entire focus needs to be around you. And when I say need, I'm going based off of, you know, the conversations that I've had with certain elites and stuff like that. And even as far as myself, like when I was driven to be the best, I realized that like, yo, I don't have the patience for anybody else. I don't want to train anybody else. Like I just want to go out and put myself on the map. That's the mentality that you have to have. You have to be relentless. Almost you have to be, you have to be obsessed if you want to be the best. Leadership is an entirely different thing. And I give people this example all the time, is that a leader usually builds the bridge in which everybody walks on. They build the bridge. The elite is usually the person who either walks across it first or runs across it first. They're the person that says, all right, no fear, no fear. I'm just going to haul ass across this line. That's usually how an elite looks at it. And you know what happens is that people don't think about the person who built the bridge. They see the person running past them. Straight ahead. That's the person that they see. That person's the greatest. He's the greatest of all time. She's the greatest of all time. You know, she's so amazing. He's so amazing. Oh, he's out here doing this. You know, oh, he's out here killing it and stuff like that. Usually the elite is not the person who built the bridge in which they walk upon. Because at some point in time, they had to have some particular skills, pick them up and say, I'm going to take these tools and I'm going to use them to the best of their abilities. Usually, the elite is not the leader. They're not the leader. And again, as I've stated, it's okay. There are some out there. Very few. Very, very few. And I say very few because I've seen a lot of dancers in their home environment, like in their comfort zone. And they are not nice people. They're obnoxious. They're self-centered, and they don't care about anybody else's opinion. They only care about being recognized as the best. And guess what? That's fine. That's fine because that's the role that you play. That is the role that you play. I only tell people to make sure that you understand the difference between leaders and elite, because I think that sometimes leaders don't get the credit that they deserve. And as we stated before with the bridge concept, nobody looks under a bridge and says, oh man, look at these pillars. They're holding the bridge up. They only see the person that's running past them. And you know what usually happens when somebody runs past you? You either turn around and you start running with them, or you see somebody and you be like, dang, I need to catch up. That's what they're there. They're there to motivate you. You know what I'm saying? But a leader is supposed to help you stay on the beaten path that's there for you. And I get it. You are going to have some people who are going to divert from the path. Those are the elites and stuff like that who are going to kind of carve their own lane. But I always tell people, like, yo, you can't have flowers without a seed. A big ass tree started from a small seed, has roots as well. It had to start. It didn't just like, oh, big ass tree. It didn't start like that. Somewhere down the line, somebody had to give that elite their start. They had to. And they made a conscious effort from there, moving on, saying that I'm going to be the best. Leaders, and I know I've spent a lot of time talking about leaders, but I'm talking about the elites, but leaders are people that sacrifice. They sacrifice. They say, I want to make sure that this path is filled with as many lessons, as much information and knowledge, as many people, as much as community. It's culturally, culturally filled. I don't know if I'm saying that term right, but, filled with lots of culture and lots of history. And the people who helped put that leader in this position, they make sure that those people are remembered as well. That's what leaders are supposed to do. And more so unconsciously, not unconsciously, but consciously, they make sure that there are plenty of tests along that road as well for you, so that you're able to learn. Not to kill you, not to destroy like your motivation, your inspiration, or your strength and your steps. It's not there for them. They're not putting those tests there for you to make sure that you fall. They're leaving those particular tests there so that way you grow. You get those experience points. You know what I'm saying? This is like an anime. You know what I'm saying? You got to get that EXP. You need that. Because if every challenge that you faced is the same as the one that you faced 4 years ago, you never grow from it. You need that. And sometimes, whether people admit it or not, sometimes a test in the road is the elite that you're chasing after. Because guess what? Hey, we do need elites. Make no mistake. We need people to push the boundaries. Again, that's what I'm saying. It's two parts of the spectrum. People only see the things that appeal to them. They only see the flash. They see the movie stars. They see the explosions and stuff like that. They see the roses. They see the fruit. They see the path that's been walked and stuff like that. They see the top of the mountains and stuff like that. They see the glitz and glamour. They see the body, stuff like that. But people never, ever, 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 and I won't say never, but very rarely ever do they acknowledge the roots and where all of this hard work came from. The fruits of your labor. Where did it start from? That's the important thing. So just remember, usually the leaders and elites are not the same. Leaders are people that are truly, truly committed to their community and their scene. They're going to make sure that, from what they personally believe, really not even personally, but more on a vast level, they are going to sacrifice their personal feelings about certain things, and they are going to make sure that, hey, you know what, this is not what I personally want, but this is what's better for the community. They're going to look into the heart and soul of their community and say, what's missing here? And even if it's comes at my own discomfort, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to make sure that this happens, because this is what my community needs. This is what the people that are following me needs. And that's just the difference in mentalities. Elites don't think like that. They don't. Elites want to be driven to be the best. That's why they're elites. That's why they're top tiers. So again, you can look at it however you want to. Elites may be, the popular people, the people that you see on social media with a bunch of likes and stuff like that, but then you also have to ask yourself, okay, how did that person get there? How did they get there? Who put that person in that position? Who helped them get their start? Then we got to go back and we got to talk about the leaders. So again, I'm just simply saying you can't have a beautiful tree without roots. Leaders, the elites. Your call. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.